Well, it's finally landed. Yes, the ResMed AirSense 11 is now available for online retailers here in the US to start shipping. So now, for the first time, whether you're in Hawaii or Houston, we have no problem. See what I did there? Now, without further ado, let's get started. Well, hello there, I'm Ruben from RespShop.com, your full-service online retailer for everything CPAP. And yes, as of this week, that also includes the ability to ship and sell the much-anticipated AirSense 11. We are stocked and raring to go, so please do go and check out our site shortly. But first, we need to show you what you could be buying. In case you couldn't tell, I'm pretty excited to tell you about this brand new device that everyone in the CPAP world is talking about. We've got a lot to cover today, so let's jump right in. But just before we do, I want to take a second and do what all YouTubers do, and that is to ask you to please like the video and subscribe to the channel so we can keep creating this type of content for you. Okay, so let's do this. With the release of the AirSense 11, ResMed has simplified their product line. They've done away with the for her variant of their unit models, which is a welcome change. Instead, you can find an AutoSet for her option within the device menu of the AirSense 11 AutoSet, which we'll get to in a bit. There are 3 versions of the AirSense 11, starting with the basic CPAP model, then the Elite, which is also a manual CPAP model with a few detection upgrades to give fuller data points that can help determine the most effective treatment, and the creme de la creme AutoSet model, which is the automatic CPAP variant and includes those AutoSet options I just mentioned, in addition to the added detections that are in the Elite. So those are the 3 tiers of units for the AirSense. ResMed has a handy chart you can download from their site that has an at-a-glance view of the features of each. This one I have here is the AutoSet model, so I can show you the full features of this unit, and in the corner of the video you'll see 2 icons which represent the CPAP and Elite models, and will indicate throughout if whatever feature I'm talking about does or doesn't apply to either of those. Make sense? Okay, great. Bear in mind that it's only the in-menu options that differ between the models. The aesthetics, apart from the printed model names of course, are all exactly the same, as well as all the accessories and their functionality. Speaking of the unit's design and aesthetics, in my opinion, this is the best looking CPAP device on the market by a country mile. It's almost like they've used Apple devices as their inspiration here, with its simple grayscale housing at a contrast with that bright colored screen to make the screen really pop. The curved edges and elongated body make it look less squat and awkward than the AirSense 10, and there's a consistent branding theme throughout with these small circles from the ResMed logo found everywhere on the unit and in their marketing material. So overall, the looks are great, and it will look good on your nightstand for sure. And it's nice to have an electronic device that has a modern design when spending this kind of money, which I can't say the same for some other CPAPs. Throughout the housing, there are lots of different textures too, which I personally like. You have these grooved ends, these inset circles, the start-stop button has that rubberized plastic feel, as does the entire base of the unit, which is great because it means that it won't slide around on your nightstand. The injection molded humidifier tub is made of a coarse frosted plastic with a silicone seal and feels nice, but it's quite thin when you compare it to the plastic on, say, the iBreeze humidifier. I'd be very careful not to drop this unit. The humidifier tub has only a 6-month warranty, so it will be interesting to see if this design holds up against leaks in the long term. Dimensions wise, with the humidifier installed, the AirSense is 3.7 inches tall by 10.2 inches wide by 5.5 inches deep. So it's a little wider than most CPAPs, including the AirSense 10, but the overall footprint of the 11 is actually 24% smaller and 10% lighter than the 10. So when it comes to traveling, the 11 is a little more compact than previous versions. Now, the most exciting features of this unit are found internally, but there are a few exterior items to go over. Firstly, you'll notice that there is a single button on the entire housing of the unit, which, as you can see, is this large start-stop button on top. Now, despite it having a power symbol, this button is actually used to start or stop your therapy, not to power the device on or off. To do that, you just plug it in or out. If this device ever flashes white on this light on top, then a system error has occurred. And if this happens, refer to the troubleshooting section of your manual or give us at RespShop.com a call. On the rear side of the unit, you'll find the outlet connector, where the hose attaches to the device. Slight difference here from the AirSense 10. On the 11, the hose attaches to the outlet connector straight on, not at a right angle, which can be a pain if you like to keep your CPAP device against the wall, as you need more room behind the machine to allow the hose to bend away. Close to the outlet connector is the air filter inlet cover, which houses the unit's disposable filter. ResMed's marketing material for the unit say the air filter needs to be replaced every 6 months, but there are plenty of physicians and other manufacturers with similar disposable filters who would recommend doing so much more frequently. Resvent says every 2 weeks on the iBreeze, for example. My personal recommendation is to change it whenever the filter starts to discolor, or every month, whichever comes sooner. And if you have pets or a dusty home, then more frequently doesn't hurt. You can't replace them too regularly. If we turn the device to the side, you'll see the SD card cover, which contains, you guessed it, an SD card, which stores your sleep data. Now, this is where the AirSense 11 separates itself from all other PAP devices currently on the market, and why you pay more for this machine. And that comes down to the data this device collects, how it processes that data to personalize the experience for each user to maximize the chance of successful sleep therapy, and how this data is made accessible and understandable for the average consumer. There's no doubt we're living in a more data-driven society than ever. People are increasingly interested in tracking medical therapy or even personal well-being when information is readily available in a digestible format. We've seen this with the Fitbit and Apple Watches, how simplified and gamified progress tracking is extremely motivational for success. Well, this is what ResMed has been able to successfully incorporate into the AirSense. This device has Bluetooth and cellular connectivity, which means a few things. Firstly, there's myAir. This app, an online portal, wirelessly tracks a few basic metrics regarding your previous night's sleep therapy, and then provides the user an at-a-glance scorecard out of 100. Then there's Care Check-in, which provides coaching and training where needed. It asks new users a series of setup questions when first turning on the device, and continues to ask further questions about the success of their therapy periodically throughout the first few months of use. With a patient's consent, these responses are made available to your care provider through AirView to give the provider a more complete picture of your therapy progress to maximize the chance of success. And that includes us here at RespShop. At RespShop.com, we offer far more than most e-commerce companies of CPAP equipment. We're not simply a distributor of products, we have a wealth of resources when it comes to medical staff who can help you with your sleep therapy. We have respiratory therapists, polysomnographic techs, and a nurse on staff to assist customers, so we can also remotely view your sleep data on the AirSense 11 and control the device to adjust any of the clinical menu settings as you may need. The other way that ResMed uses the remote connectivity capabilities of the device is to send software updates to your machine without you needing to manually upgrade your device, which I personally like, but I can understand if there are those who may be wary of having things change on them once they're comfortable with what they have. And that about covers everything on the exterior of the device. For those of you already familiar with the AirSense line, you'll also notice a fairly significant omission from the AirSense 11, and that is that ResMed has done away with the navigation knob. The device is now controlled entirely from the colored touchscreen. Let's take a closer look at the menu items and how the navigation feels. The screen is sharp and the colors are bright and appealing. It does respond well to touch, but the scrolling response time is certainly less than immediate, and it scrolls in preset amounts rather than by the amount of motion you apply to the swipe. Most of us are used to our smartphones that have a higher level of responsiveness, so that could be something to be improved on in later iterations. There is a light sensor built into the device which adjusts the screen brightness according to the light level in the room. The illuminated portion of the screen is also quite small, but the menu is kept simple. From the home screen, you are presented with two main options, My Options and My Sleep View. My Sleep View automatically generates a summary of your last therapy session when you wake up and press the stop button. This is very similar to what we spoke about with the myAir app. More includes options for your myAir app connectivity, airplane mode, and the mask fit test, among others. But the bulk of the information and customization is found in the My Options menu, the first of which is ramp time. Here you can adjust the period of time that it takes for the pressure to slowly ramp up to the final prescribed amount in 5-minute increments. Now traditionally, this ramping time begins from the onset of therapy, but ResMed has an auto ramp feature. This allows the AirSense 11 to detect when the user has actually fallen asleep, and only then does it begin to ramp up the pressure to the prescribed amount. This way, whether it takes you 5 or 50 minutes to drift off, the unit will deliver the low starting pressure for maximum comfort the whole time. This feature was introduced on the AirSense 10 AutoSet device and is now a standard feature on all AirSense 11 models. Other features of note are climate control. When you purchase the AirSense 11, you have the option of spending an additional $40 or so to get the upgraded Climate Line Air 11 tubing. I'd say this is well worth the extra cost. This is heated tubing that helps reduce CPAP side effects like rainout or dry mouth. You can set your climate control to either auto or manual. When the climate control is set to manual, the user sets the humidity level and tube temperature manually, which I'd only suggest playing with if the auto settings are causing discomfort. Bear in mind that the Climate Line Air 11 is the only heated tube that is compatible with this device. Even without the Climate Line Air 11 tubing, you can of course still control the humidifier settings. And when it comes to auto settings, then ResMed are currently the market leaders. They use their AutoSet algorithm on their AutoSet model. This algorithm uses CSA and CSR detection along with RERA reporting to make automatic adjustments for comfortable therapy throughout the night. This is a more complete approach to treating sleep apnea because sleep apnea is not a consistent condition. The amount of positive air pressure your body needs changes on a nightly basis and even on an hourly basis while you're sleeping. Perhaps you are especially tired, or you're sleeping in a different position, or you have a cold or other temporary sickness, or maybe it's the weekend after you've had a big night out. Whichever it is, what you need out of your device for the best sleep possible is ever-changing. So having advanced algorithms that constantly monitor instances of sleep apnea, your breathing patterns, the amount of airflow, and then calculates this data to deliver what you need at any given moment is a huge factor of what will impact the success of your sleep therapy and the quality of sleep you get. That's why most people will spend the extra for the AutoSet model, and also why I'd recommend for the most part, it's best to leave settings in their auto mode. That being said, within your AutoSet mode, you are able to choose a soft or standard response. Soft response will mean the device uses gentler pressure increases and decreases, whereas in standard mode, the unit will reach the intended pressure faster, but you may notice the pressure changes a little stronger. And as I mentioned before, the AutoSet for her mode is now simply a feature within the mode settings, as opposed to it being a standalone device. Side note, the AirSense 11 Elite does also have these detection capabilities, but is still only a manual CPAP device. These data points are for your physician to give them more information about your sleep patterns so they can better set your device to the optimum settings within the device's parameters. The last setting I'll touch on is the expiratory pressure relief, or EPR. This setting will drop the pressure of the unit as you breathe out, making it more comfortable to use. There are 3 levels to choose from, so experiment with these and see what you like best. Now, let's start the therapy. I'll block the outlet connector so you can hear how the unit would sound with a well-sealed mask. As you can tell, it's extremely quiet, rated at just 27 decibels according to the manual. Once on, the unit will begin to heat the water in the humidifier. If you ever want warm air straight from the start of therapy, then there is a warm-up option within the More settings of the menu, which will begin the heating process and display this icon. If you forget about this being on, then it will begin to cool down after 20 minutes. As with all CPAP devices, there will be a range of information on the screen during therapy. I won't go over all of these now, but feel free to give us at RespShop.com a call if you have further questions about any of these or want to discuss your sleep therapy. The unit itself comes with a 2-year warranty and 6 months on the supplied tubing and humidifier. Once you stop your therapy session, wait at least 10 minutes for the heated humidifier to cool down before dumping out any of the remaining water, and daily refill the tub with distilled water for the next night of sleep. ResMed also recommends cleaning the humidifier tub weekly alongside your tubing and outlet connector. To remove the outlet connector, first slide out the humidifier, then press firmly on the tab inside the device and pull the connector through the outlet connector socket. Wash them in warm water with household dishwashing liquid, then rinse in water only and let them dry, out of direct sunlight. If you purchase the ClimateLine Air 11, then make sure the tubing is completely dry, as it has an electrical connection point to the unit. ResMed don't mention this as a point of caution, but I wouldn't want it to short on you. Well, that about does it from me today. There's a lot more we could have discussed with this unit, and no doubt we'll continue to make videos for you that dive a little deeper into some of the features and comparisons between it and other models on the market today. The AirSense 11 from ResMed is going to be a big hit, and while some would argue that there is nothing groundbreaking on this latest release, I don't think we should understate the AirSense 11 quite clearly shows the path that ResMed is looking to take their line of CPAPs. It now looks and feels much more like a smart device, and advances to the internal algorithms, connectivity, and user experience are all important strides to take the CPAP industry further towards what we would expect from modern tech devices, and for me, that's a welcome approach. Don't forget to visit RespShop.com to view pricing of the AirSense 11 and other CPAP devices and accessories. The link is in the description below. Let us know in the comments whether or not the AirSense 11 is going to be your next or even first CPAP device. And please, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel to help us create more videos like this for you guys. If you want to chat about anything we've covered today, then give us a call or visit our site, and wherever you are, sleep tight. Till next time.